I plunged the carving knife into the turkey's breast, the blade sinking deep with a wet thunk that echoed like a gunshot in the too-quiet dining room. And for a split second, everyone froze, forks midair, eyes wide, as if I'd just gutted the heart of our so-called family right there on the linen tablecloth. My mother gasped, her pearls clattering against her wine glass. But it wasn't the bird she was mourning. It was the $200,000 check she'd just slid across the polished oak toward my sister. The one I'd clawed out of 18 months in a hellhole prison cell. My knuckles raw from pounding rebar on a chain gang. All so she could play the innocent debutante. And as the steam rose from the carved flesh like the ghosts of every lie we'd buried together, I smiled slow, sharp, the kind of grin that says, "Game's over, bitches," because tonight, under the crystal chandelier of our McMansion in suburban Detroit, I wasn't serving seconds, I was serving justice, and it tasted like blood and brimstone. The scent of rosemary and regret hung heavy in the air of that dining room. The kind of room my father had built with his own calloused hands back when General Motors still meant something in this Rust Belt town. It was Thanksgiving, 2025. The year the leaves turned blood red early, and the factories coughed out their last breaths before the unions folded like cheap lawn chairs. We'd gathered like we always did, me, the prodigal screw-up, Emily, the golden child with her Pilates-toned arms and Instagram empire, Mom, perched like a queen on her ergonomic throne, nursing a Merlot that matched her lipstick, and Dad, slouched in his lazy boy extension at the head of the table, his Packers jersey straining over the gut he'd earned from too many post-shift Leinenkugels. But this year, the prodigal had returned with pockets lined in fool's gold and a ledger full of scores to settle. I'd done my time, 16 months in Jackson State for felony fraud, the kind that gets you orange jumpsuits and shank scars if you're not careful. It wasn't my fraud, of course. That honor belonged to Emily, who'd cooked the books at Dad's auto parts shop, siphoning off client deposits to fund her side hustle, which translated to coke-fueled weekends in Vegas and a Birkin bag collection that could choke a horse. I'd confessed, pled out, taken the fall because family sticks together, right? That's what Mom whispered in my ear that rainy night in the station house, her breath stale with denial. Jack, you're the strong one. Emily's got dreams. We can't lose her. Dreams. Yeah. The American kind, where one sibling rots in a 6x8 while the other posts blessed selfies from Coachella. I'd scraped that $200,000 together post-release, grinding double shifts at a welding gig in the shadow of the old Fisher body plant, my lungs blackening with arc flash and overtime fumes. It was seed money for Dad's big relaunch, a hybrid parts depot. Green tech bullshit to lure in the Tesla bros invading from the coasts. I'd handed it over last week, a cashier's check crisp as new snow, with a post-it that read, "For us. All of us. Naive? Maybe. But blood's thicker than the ink on a plea bargain." Now, here we were, the check making its victory lap around the table like a debutante's corsage. Emily's fingers, nails lacquered blood apple red, brushed it first, a soft coo escaping her lips. "Oh, Mom. It's perfect. The salon expansion, God. I can already see the neon sign. M's Glow Up Lounge. Jack. You shouldn't have. Shouldn't have." The words landed like a sucker punch, but I kept carving, the knife whispering through sinew. Dad cleared his throat, that gravelly rumble from 40 years of chain-smoking camels. "Boys got skills. Eminencia. Welding ain't poetry, but it pays. Hell, without his sweat, we'd still be scraping by on my pension." His eyes met mine then, brief as a flicker. And I saw it, the gratitude laced with pity. The man who'd raised me on shop floor sermons about pulling your weight, now weighing me like yesterday's scrap. Mom beamed, her Botox smile a rictus of suburban perfection. Your sister's building something real.
Jack.
Community ties. Jobs for the girls from the old neighborhood. You understand.
Don't you?
After all you've endured. Endured. Like my stint was a bad vacation. Not a meat grinder that spat me out with PTSD nightmares and a rap sheet that killed every job interview since. I plated the slices, turkey pink and glistening, and passed them down. Emily speared hers daintily, moaning like it was foie gras.
Jack.
You're a wizard with a blade. Remember that time in high school when you fixed the carburetor on my Civic with a butter knife? Total MacGyver. Laughter rippled. Dad's bark. Mom's titter, but it curdled in my gut. That Civic? The one she'd wrapped around a telephone pole after a bender. DUI charges I'd talked the cop out of, because she's just a kid. Officer. Scared straight already.
Kid.
She was 25 then. Same as me now. The meal dragged. Small talk a minefield. Emily prattled about her latest influencer collab, organic skincare lines hawking snake oil to soccer moms, while Mom nodded like a bobblehead, interjecting with tales of my wild phase, as if fraud was a phase, like acne or rebellion. Dad shoveled peas, muttering about the Lions' losing streak, his way of dodging the elephant, or, in this case, the check squatting on the linen. Then it came, the fork in the road disguised as dessert. Mom rose, her heels clicking like castanets on hardwood, and retrieved a velvet box from the sideboard. Not jewelry, no. Better. The check, folded reverently, now enshrined. To Emily she toasted, glass aloft, for turning pain into purpose. And to Jack, for making it possible. The room erupted in clinks, but my champagne fizzed flat on my tongue. Emily unfolded it, eyes widening like a kid at Christmas. $200,000?
Jack.
This is insane. I don't know what to say. She leaned over, air kissing my cheek. Her Chanel no. 5 a cloying fog. But her whisper, hot against my ear. Thanks, little bro. Really? I'll pay you back. Pinky swear. Pinky swear. Like we were 8 again, trading bazooka comics in the backyard. I wanted to laugh, or scream, or maybe just drive the knife through her palm and pin her to the table like a butterfly specimen. Instead, I raised my glass. To family, I said, voice steady as a sniper's aim. May we always get what we deserve. That night, as the dishes clattered in the sink and Emily's taillights faded down the cul-de-sac, I sat alone in the garage, Dad's old toolbox open like a confessional. Inside, buried under socket wrenches and ghosted lottery tickets, was the flash drive, the one I'd lifted from Emily's purse during her hug goodbye. It held the originals, ledgers, wire transfers, the digital trail of her embezzlement that I torched my life to bury. Secrets have weight, heavier than any barbell, and mine had just tipped the scales.
But revenge?
That's not a sprint. It's a slow weld, bead by bead, until the whole damn frame buckles. I plugged in the drive, the laptop screen blooming blue in the dark, and started typing. Not a confession, not yet. An invoice. Emily's first lesson was due, and I was the collector. The garage smelled of motor oil and mildew, a scent that dragged me back to boyhood summers, when Dad would hoist me onto his workbench and teach me the difference between a torque wrench and a cheater bar. Leverage, Jacko, he'd say. Grease monkey grin splitting his beard. That's how you move the world. Find the fulcrum. Apply pressure. Watch it give. Leverage. I'd forgotten that word in the joint, where power came from shivs and stairs, not spreadsheets.
But now?
It hummed in my veins like arc lightning. The files unspooled, PDFs stamped with Dad's logo. Midwest Auto Solutions, columns of inflated invoices funneled to Emily's ghost accounts. She'd started small, padding expense reports for client entertainment, which meant lap dances at the Pink Pony. Then bolder, rerouting supplier payments to offshore shells. The kind that scream Panama Papers light. I'd discovered it 6 months before the bust. Walking in on her laptop aglow in the office after hours. Her silhouette frantic against the blinds. It's nothing, Jack, she'd sobbed. Mascara rivers. Just bridging a gap. The shop's bleeding. Dad doesn't see it.
I saw.
And I covered. Falsified my own logs. Signed off on phantom shipments. Even took the heat when the auditor came sniffing.
Why?
Because she was Emily Big Sis. The one who'd bandaged my knees after BMX wipeouts. Shared her contraband cigs behind the bleachers. Whispered that I was the smart one. The fixer.
Blood.
Remember? Thicker than the law. But prison strips illusions like flesh from bone. In Jackson, time stretches. A rubber band pulled taut until it snaps your sanity. I bunked with a lifer named Rico, ex-mob accountant with tattoos mapping his sins. Family's a scam. Kid, he'd rasp over smuggled pruno. They'll sell your soul for a subway token. You want out? Learn to flip the script. Flip the script. I did, swapped stories for skills, memorized ledgers in my sleep, emerged with a mind sharpened to a stiletto.
Now.
Fingers flying. I mirrored the drive to a burner cloud, then drafted the email. Subject: investment update. Body: a polite recap of my contributions, the welds that blistered my hands, the nights I crashed in my truck to save rent, ending with, per our agreement, 50% equity in the depot vests upon funding. Confirm receipt. Attachment: a redacted ledger showing my loans to the family pot, Emily's withdrawals highlighted in damning yellow.
Send.
The whoosh was a starter pistol. By dawn, my inbox pinged, Mom first. All passive-aggressive emojis, and so proud of you both. Let's chat tomorrow? Then Emily, WTF Jack? This is family money. Don't be petty.
Petty.
The word ignited something primal. A forge in my chest hammering out plans from rage. I showered off the turkey grease, the water scalding, and drove to the old steel yard on Jefferson, where the foreman owed me a favor for my post-release hustle. Need a spotter for some off-books fab, I told him, voice casual as lake wind. He didn't ask questions, ex-cons stick to the code. By noon, I'd welded a cage, reinforced steel, padlock ready, the kind that holds engines or enemies. Call it preparation. Call it poetry. Emily texted mid-afternoon. Dinner was fab. Miss you already. 2 hearts, I replied with a photo. The cage. Shadows playing tricks. Captioned, building something solid. For us. Dots danced. Then silence. Good. Let the fulcrum creak. That evening, I hit the dive bar on 8 Mile. The one with the neon bud sign flickering like a dying star. It was neutral ground. where blue-collar ghosts nursed drafts and swapped war stories. I nursed a whiskey neat, the burn mapping my resolve. When my phone buzzed, Dad. Son, we need to talk. Your sister's upset. Come by the house. Upset. The irony was bourbon bitter. I drained the glass, tossed a 20, and rolled out into the sodium-lit sprawl of Detroit proper, the city that birthed Motown and mayhem in equal measure. The house loomed, colonial facade, hiding the rot, porch light a judgmental eye. Dad met me at the door, flannel untucked, eyes bloodshot. Inside, he grunted, no preamble. The living room was a time capsule, floral couch sagging, walls papered in faded cabbage roses, Emily's high school prom photo smirking from the mantel. She was there, legs crossed on the ottoman, a tumbler of something amber in hand. Mom hovered by the hearth, wringing her apron like a noose. Jack, Emily started, voice honey over gravel. That email? It's a joke.
Right?
We're family. We share.
Share.
The word was a slap. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, the welder's calluses rough against my biceps. Share like you shared the fall? Or the books?
Na. Eminência.
That was my share, my time, my name in the papers, my life on pause while you played house with Chad the crypto bro.
Chad.
Her husband of 2 years. A slickster in skinny jeans who'd invested her ill-gotten gains in meme coins, only to tank them in the 24 crash. Now he was consulting from their condo in Birmingham, which was code for day trading porn and popping Xanax. Mom interjected, her voice a tremolo of maternal guilt. Jackie.
Please.
Emily's carrying so much, the business, the baby on the way. Stress isn't good. Baby. The bomb dropped casual as confetti. Emily's hand fluttered to her barely there bump, eyes wide with weaponized innocence. It's early.
But. Yeah.
Surprise?
Surprise.
Like the fraud, the fall, the fucking check. Rage coiled. A spring under pressure. But I played it cool, American stoic. The cowboy who swallows the bullet. Congrats, I said,
Forcing a grin.
To new beginnings. We talked or they talked. A duet of deflection. Dad promised repayment plans. Mom baked apology cookies that tasted like sawdust. Emily? She flipped. Tears to tantrums. Accusing me of jealousy. Of ruining the holiday vibe. You always were the dramatic one.
Jack.
Ever since Mom's affair. The ghost eyed buried deeper than the ledgers. Mom's business trips to Chicago. The ones that left Dad hollow-eyed and me playing referee at 13. Emily knew. She'd covered. Alibis texted from the back seat of Mom's Buick. Leverage? Indeed. I left at midnight. The cookies and a Tupperware Trojan horse. My mind a blueprint of beams and blowtorches. The cage waited at the yard. And so did the next move. Emily thought blood bought loyalty. I'd show her what it really bought, a front-row seat to the inferno. Dawn cracked over the Detroit River like a hangover. Gray and unforgiving. The water churning with freighter wakes and the ghosts of better industries. I woke in my studio apartment off Gresham, 800 square feet of exposed brick and regret. Rent paid in welding sparks and ramen packets. The flash drive sat on the Formica counter. A talisman. Beside a cooling pot of Folgers that tasted like motor oil but kept the demons at bay. Emily's pregnancy reveal had landed like a depth charge, blasting open fault lines I'd patched with denial. A kid, hers. Chad's spawn. Heir to the empire of lies. It humanized her. Damn it. Made the monster in the mirror a mother-to-be. All glow and vulnerability. But humanity's no shield. It's chum in shark waters. I booted the laptop, the fan whining like a distant siren, and dove back into the files. The ledgers were a labyrinth. Emily's digital fingerprints everywhere, aliases like E. Harlow Consulting, wires to Cayman trusts that screamed getaway fund. One thread pulled hardest, the $50,000 donation to St. Mary's Youth Center, funneled through the shop as a tax write-off. Noble on paper, but the center's director? Her old sorority sis from U of M, who donated half back under the table for Emily's scholarship fund. Scholarship for what? Pole dancing classes in Reno? I cross-referenced with public records, easy pickings on Pacer. The federal court's leaky faucet. There it was, the civil suit from 2 years back. A supplier stiffed on $120,000, settled out of court with anonymous contributions. My contributions, blood money from my pre-prison gigs, funneled unwittingly through family payroll. I'd been the mule, blindered and loyal, while she galloped toward the horizon. Rage is a forge, but strategy's the hammer. I needed allies, not avengers, folks with grudges sharper than mine. First call, Rico, my Jackson mentor, now paroled and pushing papers at a bail bonds joint in Hamtramck. Jackie boy, he croaked, voice like crushed gravel over the line. Heard you were out. What's the play? I laid it out, the betrayal, the bun in the oven, the check that vanished like smoke. He chuckled, low and knowing. Family's the original Ponzi. You want the flip? Hit the veins. Who's hurt worst by her glow-up? The supplier. Apex Gaskets, a mom-and-pop outfit in Warren, run by a widow named Lena Kowalski. I'd met her once. Pre-bust. Dropping off parts with Dad. Steel-haired battle-axe. Eyes like flint. Who'd lost her husband to a plant explosion back in '08. She settled the suit, but whispers said it bankrupted her, foreclosure looming. Kids scattered like shrapnel. I drove out that afternoon, the Impala's AC wheezing against November chill. Past billboards hawking crypto scams and Jesus billboards. Apex was a squat cinderblock bunker off Van Dyke. Chain link rattling in the wind. Sign faded to AP_X gas_S. Lena was in the office. Ledger books stacked like Jenga. Her reading glasses perched on a nose like a hawk's beak. Jack Harlan, she said, not rising. Voice flat as the desk. Son of Tom. What brings the black sheep sniffing? No bullshit. I liked that. I slid a printout across. Emily's wire trail. Redacted just enough to tease. This ring a bell? Your $120,000 vanishing act. Trace to my sister. She cooked it, I covered. Now she's pregnant with my nest egg. Lena's eyes narrowed, scanning the page like a prosecutor. Minutes ticked. The wall clock's second hand a metronome of judgment. Then, bitch owed me a kidney. Not a kid. What you selling? Harlan? Vigilante justice. Justice with interest. I leaned in, voice dropping. I expose her. The feds revisit your suit, restitution. Headlines. You get your house back. She gets the spotlight she craves. But I need your ear inside suppliers talk. Right? Who's next on her menu? She tapped a bic against yellowed teeth. Then nodded.
Deal.
But if you fuck me, I'll bury you deeper than my Joe. Handshakes sealed. Calluses to calluses. The first weld in the chain. Back home, the cage called Metaphor and Metal. I texted Emily, "Congrats again. Baby name ideas?" Harlan Kowalski has a ring. No reply. Instead, a ping from an unknown number. Back off, asshole. Or the kid pays.
Chat.
The crypto cowboy. Flexing from his man cave. Threats are foreplay in this game. I replied, "Tell him the ledgers say hi." Apex does too. Silence. Then a flood. Voicemails from mom. Pleading, dad. Gruff warnings. Emily's was the knife twist. "You're ruining everything." Jack. For what? Some dead-end grudge? I'm family. Family. The word was arsenic now. I ignored them, hitting the streets instead, 8 miles underbelly, where pawn shops peddled dreams and despair. I scored a burner phone, a voice modulator app, and a stack of prepaid cards. Next, digital ghosts. Using Rico's offshore contact, a Ukrainian hacker named Ghost9 who charged in Bitcoin and bad poetry, I seeded the files on dark web forums. Not the full blast, just breadcrumbs. Midwest fraud ring, family ties. Who's got the stomach for a takedown? Replies trickled. Trolls. True believers. A PI from Cleveland with a vendetta against white-collar witches. One stood out, Ford Tough 87, New Year sis from U of M. She tanked my startup. Name your price. Price?
Free.
If he played decoy. By nightfall, the cage was loaded onto a flatbed, disguised as scrap haul, parked in a buddy's warehouse off the river. I crashed hard. Dreams a montage of bars slamming and Emily's laugh echoing like shattering glass. Morning brought rain, sluicing the city clean, and a package on my doorstep, no sender, just a manila envelope thick with spite. Inside, photos. Me in the yard, welding the cage, laptop shots of the drive, even a blurry of Lena's office. Stalker shit. Chad's doing? Probably amateur hour with a telephoto from his Tesla. I burned them in the sink, the acrid smoke a vow, and called Lena. Company. Keep eyes open. Her laugh was barbed wire. Always do.
Kid.
Got a lead. Emily's pitching a partnership to another supplier tomorrow. Toledo Rubber. Want an invite? Hell yes. I geared up, hoodie, gloves, the works, and tailed her Escalade south on I-75, the wipers slapping rhythm like a heartbeat. Toledo was gray on gray. Factories hulking like beached whales. The meeting in a Denny's off the interstate. Fluorescent hell, where dreams go to die. I slipped in the back. Ball cap low. Nursing coffee that could strip paint. Emily held court in a booth. Blonde waves cascading. Baby bump artfully cradled in a cashmere sweater. Across, a paunchy exec in a members-only jacket, nodding like a puppet. It's vertical integration, Mr. Ruiz, she purred, PowerPoint glowing on her tablet. Your seals, our distribution win-win. And with the Harlan name behind it. Harlan. My name. Weaponized. I stifled a growl. Phone recording under the table. She flipped charms, coquette to closer. Tears glistening when he hedged on terms. It's for my family, she sniffled. The baby's due in spring. Can't you just believe in us?
Us.
The royal we, excluding the fall guy. Ruiz caved, signing prelims on a napkin. As she air-kissed goodbye, our eyes met across the diner, hers widening in shock. Mine's steel. Jack, she hissed, cornering me by the restrooms. What the fuck? Stalking now? Observing, I said, pocketing the phone. Like you observe the books. Nice pitch. Too bad Apex has your number. Her face crumpled, then hardened flip. Fast as a coin. You think you're the hero? You're a con.
Jack.
Jailbird trash. Leave. Or I swear. Swear what? To baby Jesus. I stepped close. Voice low. That $200,000 was mine. The shop's mine. Hell. Half this bloodline's mine. You stole it all.
Eminencia.
Time to pay the piper. She slapped me, crack echoing like thunder, and stormed out, tires squealing into the downpour. I touched my cheek, stinging, and smiled. First blood. Back in Detroit. The cage awaited, and so did the invoice. I wired Ghost 9 the Satoshis, and by midnight, the breadcrumbs bloomed, forums buzzing. A Reddit thread on r/true crime sub. Family fraud in Motor City. Sound familiar? Lena texted. Papers served on Apex restitution. Your sis's salon? Cops at the door. The flip was on. But as sirens wailed distant, I wondered, was this justice? Or just the mirror cracking? The rain had turned to sleet by the time I hit the warehouse. The flatbed's tires hydroplaning on oil slick lots like fate's own warning. Detroit in winter is a beast, raw, unforgiving, the kind of cold that seeps into your marrow and hatches doubts. Mine were hatching fast. Emily's slap still burned, a brand of the girl I'd idolized, now reduced to a cornered fox with a litter on the way. Was I the villain here, wielding ledgers like a shank? Or was she puppeteering from her pedestal of privilege? Fuck philosophy. Rico's voice echoed. Doubt's the devil's whisper. Crush it. I chained the cage shut, the padlock clicking like a loaded chamber, and drove to the safe house, a derelict duplex in Delray, where the air smelled of tannery ghosts and the power flickered like bad karma.
Inside.
Burners charged, laptop humming. I monitored the digital bonfire. The thread had exploded, 200 upvotes. Comments a cesspool of schadenfreude. Karma's a bitch in Birkins, sounds like my ex's scam. Hope she rots. 4tough87 DM'd coordinates for a meet, a sports bar in Ferndale. Neutral turf where hipsters and has-beens collided over craft IPAs. I arrived early. Scoping from the lot, neon, tilted kilt, sign bleeding red into the dusk. Valets in kilts hustling Subarus. He was mid-40s. Paunch tucked into a Ford T faded as his fortunes. Nursing a bells two-hearted like it owed him child support. Harlan, he grunted, sliding a stool my way. Name, Mike Nowak. X-Tech was kid who'd bootstrapped a app for gig mechanics until Emily consulted, poaching his code for her network and tanking his funding round with planted bugs. We clinked bottles, his story spilling bitter as the ale. She charmed the VCs. Jack, tears,
Tits.
the works. Said I was unstable. Showed logs of crashes I never wrote. Lost everything. House, wife, the dream.
His eyes.
Watery blue. Fixed on me. You her brother? Blood. Thicker than the noose she tied. I said, sliding him a thumb drive, his code. Salvaged from the wreckage. Clean and recompiled. This is restitution. Use it. But first,
Testimony.
swear out a affidavit, her MO. The flip from ally to assassin. Mike drained his beer. Foam mustache twitching. For free? Hell yeah. But watch your back, she's got Chad. And that prick's connected. Family in the DPD. Whispers say.
DPD.
Detroit's finest. Or foulest. Depending on the badge. Another fulcrum. I thanked him. Slipped a 50 for the next round. And ghosted into the night. The sleet now a full nor'easter whipping off the lake. Home, such as it was, brought voicemails stacking like indictments. Mom, Jackie. The police were here. Some crazy fraud claim. Emily's hysterical. The baby's kicking like mad. Come home, please. Dad. Boy. You stirring shit? Shop's under audit now. Fix this. Emily's was a venom vial. You win. Okay?
Meet me.
Tim Hortons on Woodward. Midnight. Alone. Alone. As if I trusted her shadow. I geared up, Kevlar vest under the hoodie, Rico's going-away gift. .38 in the ankle holster, unregistered. Naturally. And the voice recorder pinned like a wire. The drive was a blur of taillights and talk radio rants about border walls and Biden's ghost. The city pulsing with the low hum of unrest. Tim's was a beacon in the storm. Golden arches mocking the deluge. Parking lot empty save for her Escalade. Fogged windows like a confessional. She was inside. Booth by the window. Decaf steaming. Face pale under the fluorescence, vulnerable. Almost. The bump a soft curve under her parka. Jack, she breathed as I slid in opposite. The vinyl squeaking protest. Thank God. Look. I get it, you're hurt. The check was impulsive. Mom pushed. But this? Leaks. Lawsuits? It's suicide for all of us. Suicide. The word hung. Loaded. I leaned back. Arms crossed. Rain dripping from my cap. Impulsive like the books? Or the supplier squeezes?
Na. Eminência.
This is pattern. Not prank. Her eyes darted flip one. Remorse. Tears welling. I was desperate. Okay? Chad's debts. The crash wiped us. Dad's shop was collateral. I borrowed. Meant to flip it quick. You were. Safe. No priors. The good son. I never thought it'd stick. Safe. The good son. Rage flared. But I banked it. Recorder whirring silent. And the baby? What's that, insurance? Heartstrings for the judge. Flip 2. Fire. Her fist slamming the table. Coffee sloshing. Fuck you.
Jack.
You think you're saint? Remember Mom's affair? You covered that too, lied to Dad. Buried the hotel receipts. We're enablers. Both of us. Hypocrites holding the line. The affair. Chicago. '09, Mom and her accountant, a slick Jew from the Loop who'd promised tax loopholes and delivered heartbreak. I'd found the Amex bills at 14. Confronted her in the kitchen. Her sobs a symphony of "Don't tell your father." Jackie, he'll leave. Emily knew. Yes, we'd burned the copies together in the backyard fire pit. Mores masking the smoke. Bloods packed. I swallowed. The booth closing in. That was protection. This, theft. From me. From them. Protection? She laughed. Bitter chocolate. You enabled her for years, dinners. Alibis. Dad still thinks she's June Cleaver. Who's the thief?
Bro?
The one who takes. Or the one who lies to keep the facade. Checkmate.
Or stalemate.
The recorder captured it all. Her confessions. The flips. The raw underbelly of our dynasty of deceit.
Outside.
Lightning cracked, illuminating her face. Not monster, but mirror. My mirror. Truce, she whispered, hand extending across the formica. Palm up like surrender. I'll wire half the money back. Salon stays small. No more plays. For the niece or nephew.
Niece.
Nephew. The words soften the edges. A chink in the armor. I hesitated, rain drumming the roof like applause for folly. Then, half. And the affidavit to Apex. Full restitution. She nodded. Tears spilling now for real.
Deal.
But delete the files.
Jack.
Please. Start over. Start over. The American dream. Repackaged. I shook. Her hand cool and clammy. And left into the storm. The .38 heavy as regret. At the duplex, I uploaded the recording to the burner cloud. A safety net woven from spite. Sleep evaded. Chased by what-ifs. By 3 a.m., the forums lit up anew. Update. Meet with perp. Confess? Or con? And a new DM from Ghost9. Leak incoming. Client request. Client? Not mine. Dawn brought clarity. Cold as the sleet. I called Lena. Meeting went south. She's cracking, half pay. Full Apex. Her snort was pure Polish steel. Half's a handcuff. Not closure. Press. Harlan. Or you're no better than her. No better. The doubt devil whispered again. But I crushed it with coffee and code. Drafting the next email. To Ruiz at Toledo Rubber. The napkin prelim attached. With a PS. Ask about Apex. Or the feds.
Send.
The fulcrum groaned. By noon, Emily blew up my phone. You son of a bitch. Ruiz pulled out, called the auditor. Chad's flipping. Says divorce if I don't come clean. Flip 3. Panic. Her text's a torrent of begs and bargaining. I met Dad at the shop that afternoon. The bay doors yawning like a grave. Air thick with solvent and sorrow. He was under a 72 Chevelle. Wrench turning slow. Overalls stained with decades. Heard from your sister, he rumbled. Sliding out. Audits a witch hunt. You know something? Everything. The confession clawed up. But loyalty, warped, battered, held it down. Just loose ends.
Dad.
From my time away. He wiped his brow. Eyes searching mine, father to son. Man to man. Ends have hooks. Jacko. Pull too hard. You bleed. He clapped my shoulder. Heavy with unspoken sins. And I left with a toolbox heavier than truth. That night, the cage called again. I welded reinforcements. Sparks flying like fallen stars. Each beat a vow. No truce without teeth. Emily's next flip was coming. And I'd be ready to counter. But as the arc sang, Mom's affair ghosted in, her laugh from old home videos. Dad's blind faith. Was I avenging? Or repeating? The line blurred. And the storm outside mirrored the one brewing within. Ghosts don't haunt houses in Detroit, they haunt the highways. Hitchhiking on I-94 with thumbs stained by faded glory. Mine rode shotgun that frigid Tuesday. The Impala's heater blasting hot air that smelled of fast food wrappers and festering grudges. Emily's truce offer festered worst. Half the cash. A clean slate. As if $100,000 could launder the years she'd stolen. I'd wired Lena the Toledo intel. And her callback was a victory lap. Ruiz lawyered up, subpoena on your sis by week's end. Keep the pressure. Pressure. It was building. A steam engine in my chest. But crack showed. 4 Tough-as affidavit landed in my inbox. Notarized and nasty. Detailing Emily's U of M heist with screenshots and timestamps. Mike's coda. Feels good. Man. But beware the backlash. Blood boils over. Boils over. Like Mom's affair. The one that left Dad a husk. Wandering the shop at dawn muttering about loyalty's lie. I detoured to the old neighborhood. Corktown's bones. Victorian skeletons rehabbed into lofts for tech transplants. But the Irish Catholic heart still beat in St. A's rectory. Father O'Malley, white-thatched and whiskey-veined, met me in the vestibule, the air thick with incense and hypocrisy. Jack Harlan, he boomed, handshake crushing. The wanderer returns. Absolution seeking? Confession. I'd skipped it in the joint. Too many sins for one booth. But now? Not absolution. Father. Answers.
About Mom.
The Chicago years. His eyes twinkled, then shadowed.
Ah.
The prodigal's probe.
Sit.
We took the back pew. Stained glass bleeding color onto the kneeler. O'Malley spun it gentle. Mom's friend, the accountant Eli. Wasn't just ledgers, he was escape. A weekend lover who'd promised divorce and delivered dust. She confessed here. Lad, torn between hearth and heart. Chose the fire. But it burned cold. Chose the fire. Emily's echo. And Dad? He ever know? A sigh. Heavy as Hail Marys. Suspected. Forgave without words. That's Tom's way. Men like him build. Don't break. But you boys. You carried the weight.
Carried.
Like the fraud. The fall. I left with a rosary knotting my pocket. The beads a reminder. Forgiveness is a luxury. Not a given. Emily's texts had escalated to essays. Jack.
Please.
Chad's packing, says I'm toxic. The baby's ultrasound tomorrow, come? For old times? Old times. The backyard forts. Her braiding my hair with wildflowers. Promising always us against the world. The world won. I ghosted her. Hitting Rico's Bond's office instead, a strip mall bunker in Poletown. Bulletproof glass fogged with Marlboro haze. He was at the desk. Ledger's analog as his soul. A .45 holstered like a Bible. Leverage update? He asked, pouring Pruno into jelly jars. I spilled the truce trap, the affidavit avalanche. Mom's matrimonial mess unearthed. Rico nodded. Slow. His Inca roadmap of regrets. Ghosts are chains.
Jackie.
Cut 'em. Or they drag you under. Your play. Expose the root. I slid him the affair docs, scans from the fire pit salvage. Eli's emails pleading leave him. Lorraine. Plant this with a journo. Local rag. The Free Press. Family values facade cracks in suburbia. He whistled.
Low.
Bold. Hits Mom.
Sparizing Jirekichi.
But ripples. Your old man finds out? Tsunami. A tsunami. Dad's face flashed, his clap on my shoulder. The unspoken pact. Ripples be damned. Do it. By evening, the cage was mobile. Trailered to a storage unit off Conant. Disguised as HVAC scrap. I crashed at the duplex. Nightmares are real. Emily crowning in a cell. Mom's pearls choking her. Dad welding his own noose.
Woke sweating.
The rosary tangled like guilt. Ultrasound day dawned brittle. Sun mocking the frost. against better judgment, or maybe none, I showed at the clinic in Royal Oak, a sterile shrine to suburbia's spawn. Emily was in the waiting room, parka tented, flipping through what to expect when you're expecting like a shield. Chad absent. Naturally. Jack, she breathed, rising awkward. You came. For the kid, I said. Flat. We sat, the tech calling her name, and followed to the dim room, gel slick on her belly, wand probing like accusation. The screen bloomed, heartbeat thumping. A peanut with limbs. Alien and innocent. Strong, the tech cooed. 8 weeks. Picture perfect.
Perfect.
Emily's hand found mine, squeezing sister to brother. Not foe.
See?
New life. We can too. The thump-thump synced with my pulse. A lullaby laced with landmines. I squeezed back, throat tight. Maybe. If the truth sets us free. Her grip faltered. What truth? Before I could answer, the door banged. Chad. Wild-eyed. Man bun askew. Raincoat dripping.
Ink.
Cops at the house, search warrant. Something about fraud. Your brother's leak. His glare pinned me. Venom pure. You fucker. Chaos erupted. Emily wailing. Tech scrambling. Me rising slow. Not a leak.
Chad.
A flood. Your wife's sins coming home. He lunged, fist cocking, but the hallway security, XDPD bull, hauled him back. Emily clutched her belly, face ashen. Jack.
Why? Why?
I echoed, the door hissing shut behind. Because family doesn't drown one to save the other. I bolted, heart hammering, the Impala peeling out as sirens wailed in the distance. Phone exploded. Lena, feds raiding the salon. Rico, article drops tonight. Byline anonymous source. Dad. What the hell?
Son?
Get to the shop now. The Free Press hit online at 4 p.m. Suburban scandal. Affair. Embezzlement rock Harlan clan. Photos blurred family shots. Eli's obit circled. Mom's empire of illusion. Cracked wide. I hit the shop at dusk. Dad's silhouette raging in the bay. Tools flying like shrapnel. You, he roared. Wrench raised. My wife. Lies for years? And the business you're doing? Dad. I dodged a socket set. The clang echoing. It was cover. For her. For us. Us. He deflated. Wrench dropping. Face crumpling like old newsprint. You covered her crimes. Buried your mother's? What are we? Jacko? A house of cards?
Cards.
The metaphor stuck. I knelt, gathering tools. Our hands brushing, father-son. Fractured. Not anymore. But the kid. That's real. Let me fix the foundation. He pulled me up. Hug bone-crushing. Fix or burn. His eyes, wet, held mine.
Choose. Boy.
Blood or brimstone. Brimstone tempted, but the heartbeat echoed. I chose the road, drove to the storage. Unchained the cage. Let it rust in the rain. Truce.
Tentative.
Teetering. But Emily's call came at midnight. They're arresting me.
Jack.
Bail's $50K. Help. The flip eternal. Ghosts whispered, but the thump-thump drowned them. I wired it, last of my blood money, and hung up. The line dead as doubt. Was it mercy? Or manipulation? The storm raged. And so did I. Bail money's a river. rushing out fast and leaving mud. The $50,000 wire hit Emily's account at 1:17 a.m. Confirmed by a text. THX bro. Oh, you eternity. Red heart, eternity. In Detroit. That means dog years, short.
Savage. Stained.
I didn't sleep. Instead, I paced the duplex. Floorboards creaking like accusations. The rosary beads clicking a counterpoint to the sleet slashing windows.
Dawn broke bloody.
The Free Press article metastasizing, cable news pickups. Twitter storms with Harlan Hustle trending local. Mom's affair was the salacious hook, but the fraud threads pulled harder. Heiress to empire of lies, one Sharon blared on Fox 2. Emily's mugshot, yesterday's glow-up. Today's ghost, flashing beside ledgers leaked in full. Ghost 9's handiwork. Overkill courtesy of Chad's client request, DM'd in panic.
Chad.
The wild card. Crypto clown turned cornered rat. I traced him via burner pings, his condo in Birmingham. A glass tower mocking the flats below. Drove there mid-morning. The Impala blending with the Otis. Security a joke. Badge flash, fake. Rico forged. And I was in the lobby. Elevators humming to penthouse purgatory. He answered shirtless. Man bun defeated. Eyes red-rimmed from screen glare or substances. Harlan, he sneered, blocking the door. Come to gloat? Your sis is toast. Cops hauled her downtown. Feds want me next. Good, I said, shoving past. The .38's weight a silent threat. The place reeked of weed and desperation. Pizza boxes. Monitors flickering red with liquidated portfolios. You flipped.
Chad.
Leaked to Ghost? Thought it'd save your ass. He collapsed on the sectional. A vape cloud exhaling defeat.
Had to.
M's crazy knew about the books. Pushed me to launder through NFTs. Baby's mine.
But the debt? Hers.
$300,000 hole.
Jack.
Fed sniffing. Divorce papers drawn.
Divorce. The flip that flipped me.
Emily. Pregnant pawn in his Ponzi. You married the monster you made. Now what? Cut and run. His laugh was hollow. A deflating balloon. Run? To where? My family's Toledo trailer trash. Dad's OD'd years back. M was the ticket up.
Now?
Back to square one. Square one. The American wheel. Spinning suckers. Pity flickered brief. Blacked out by the thump-thump from the ultrasound reel in my mind. Then testify. Full truth. Her schemes. Your complicity. Plea out. Protect the kid. He eyed me. Calculating. And you?
What?
White Knight. After the cage. The leaks.
Cage.
He'd seen the pics.
All right.
Knight's rusty. But the kid's collateral. Deal?
Handshake.
Limp as his resolve.
Deal.
But if she sinks me, she won't.
Lie.
Sweet as pruno. I left him to his vapors. The elevator descent a plunge into Plan B. Downtown Fed building loomed, brutalist concrete scarred by graffiti ghosts. Emily's arraignment was public circus, reporters swarming like flies on roadkill. Flashbulbs popping as cuffs clicked off. She emerged pale, bump prominent under the jumpsuit. Lawyer, a slick ambulance chaser named Vogel in tow. Jack, she called, spotting me in the scrum. Voice cracking. Bail held. Held, I said, shouldering through to the courthouse steps. Rain a curtain. Vogel hovered, murmuring motions, but she waved him off. Inside. Please. The hallway was echo chamber. Heels clicking like countdown. Chad's talking, she whispered. Walls closing. Everything Vegas. The shells. He's blaming me.
Jack.
The baby. Flip 4. Victim. Eyes doe-wide. He knew. Pushed. Even. But if he flips full. Tears. Real rivers now. I handed her a burner. Preloaded with escape protocols, fake IDs, bus tickets west. Go if you have to. But face it.
Eminencia.
The kid deserves truth, not trails. Her grip crushed the phone. Truth? Like you told Dad about Mom? Or buried my sins? Were the same? Jack. Fixers. Fuck-ups.
Same.
The mirror shattered again. Maybe. But I'm done fixing your floods. Sirens wailed outside. Back up for the circus. And she hugged me, bump pressing like plea. Love you, little bro. Always.
Love.
The ghost word. I extricated. Left her to Vogel's verbiage. And hit the riverfront. The Detroit a muddy vein pulsing under Ambassador's shadow. Called Dad from a payphone. Relics still standing for relics like us. Son, he answered. Voice frayed. Your mother's gone, packed a bag. Left a note. Can't face the lies. Shops locked. Audits apocalypse. Apocalypse.
Fitting.
I'm coming. Hold the line. The drive home was dirge. Billboards blurring. Make America weld again. A cruel joke. Dad waited on the porch. Flannel threadbare. A tumbler of bourbon steaming in the chill. She admitted it, he said. No preamble. Handing the note, Lorraine's script. Looping apologies. Tom. I chose wrong.
Forgive.
But don't wait. I crumpled it. Fire in my throat. Emily, too. Feds have her. Chad's cracking. His laugh was dirge low. Cracking. Like eggs for the omelet we made.
You. Me.
Her shells all.
Shells.
We sat then. Porch swing creaking. Bourbon shared like sacraments. He talked, real talk. First time. The affair suspicions. Buried for peace. The shops bleed. Ignored for pride. Leverage. Jacko. I taught you wrong. It's not bars. It's balance. Balance. The word anchored. Amid the flood. What now?
Now?
We rebuild. But you, choose your cage. Hers. Or yours.
Hers.
The storage unit called. But I let it rust. Instead, I called Lena. Pull the suits. Mediation. Full pay. No press. Her pause was thunder. Weak. Harlan. She'll flip again. Maybe. But the kid.
Kid.
The tide turner.
Fine.
For the peanut. But if she drowns you. Won't. Hope. Fragile as frost. Night fell velvet. City lights, winking conspiracies. Emily texted the burner. Out on or. Chad's gone. Took the crypto stash. Alone now. Alone. The great leveler. I replied. Shop needs hands. Come home. Home. The word haunted. But ghosts fade in floodlight. Or so I told myself. As the rain eased to mist, and the river whispered of reckonings yet to come. But deep, where doubt dwelled, the cage echoed, metal on metal, a warning unsheathed. Reckoning's a southern word, but Detroit owns it, blue-collar billing, where debts compound with interest cruel as compound fractures. Emily's release on own recognizance was a reprieve, not redemption. The Fed's case loomed like a lowrider on hydraulics, ready to bounce. She showed at the shop next on. Escalade nosing the bay like a prodigal pup, Bump leading the way as she waddled in, duffel slung over shoulder. "Jack," she said, voice small in the vastness of torque wrenches and tire stacks. Dad was in the office, buried in audit forms, giving us the space, his silent vote of "fix it, kids." I wiped grease from my hands on a rag, the scent of rubber and redemption thick. "Bunks in the loft. Meals on you, decaf only." She nodded, eyes scanning the familiar chaos, workbenches scarred by our childhood whittlings. The 72 Chevelle Dad and I'd resurrected summers back. Feels like forever. And nothing. The void between us. She dropped the duffel, hand to belly. "Ultrasound," said girl, naming her Grace, "if she makes it."
Grace.
Irony. Or invocation.
She will.
If we do. We fell into routine, uneasy as a hungover hookup, mornings welding side by side, her sorting parts with swollen fingers, me spotting her on lifts like she was nitro. Dad orbited. Grunts for greetings, but his eyes softened, grandpa gears grinding. Mom's absence was the elephant, her note a bookmark in the Bible on the dash. Chad's flip hit hard, his affidavit filed by noon, detailing the launders, the lies, painting Emily as mastermind, him as minion. The news cycle tooted. Pregnant heiress's hubby spills, fraud family implodes. Reporters camped the driveway. Mics thrust like shivs, Emily barricaded with blinds and bravado. But cracks showed, nights pacing the loft, sobs muffled by pillow. One such night. Week 2. I climbed up with decaf and donuts, Krispy Kreme. Her weakness. She was curled fetal, phone glowing with deletion. Chad's last text. "Keep the brat." "I'm out."
Brat.
The word ignited. "He's a coward," I said, settling on the cot edge. "Always was." She uncurled, eyes puffy moons. "Knew it. From the vows. But love's blind, Jack, blinder than loyalty." Flip 5, confession. Her head on my shoulder, words tumbling. The fraud started small. For us, Mom's medicals after the accident. Remember her wrist? Not fall. Eli's grip. Post-fight. I covered bills, then tasted power.
Power.
The American opiate. And the shop? Dad's dream? "Dreams die," she whispered. "I revived it your way."
Clean. But the rush. Couldn't stop.
Stop. The word hung. I held her, Sister Sib, the bump a barrier and bridge. "Stop now." Plead.
Pay.
Parent. She pulled back, eyes searching. "And you? Forgive?" After the cage. The cage you built for me.
Cage.
The ghost metal. Forgave the girl who braided my hair. Not the thief.
Thief.
We talked till false dawn, affair alibis. Prison postcards I'd sent her from the joint. The $200,000 as symbol of all stolen. Dawn brought decision. Her lawyer, Vogel, summoned for plea talks. "Misdemeanors," he counseled, slick as seal oil. "Restitution. Probation. Baby's your get-out-of-jail card. Judges melt for maternal. Melt." Emily signed prelims.
Tears Inc.
But the floodwaters rose. Lena called, furious. Mediation? She's lowballing, 30% on Apex. Pull out, or I sue you too.
Sue me.
The fixer fixed. Hold. Full by end of week. YOW. End of week. I drove to Lena's bunker. Sleet swapped for snow flurries. The Lotta white quilt over blacktop sins. She met me at the gate. Thermos steaming. Face carved from oak. Harlan. This soft shoe? For her? Or guilt?
Guilt.
The G word. For the kid.
Grace.
She sipped. Eyes flint. Grace.
Pretty.
But my Joe's gone, no grace there. 100%. Or war.
War.
The word chilled deeper than flurries. 100. Swear. Hand on heart. Polish cross.
Deal.
Back at the shop. Emily was glowing, prenatal yoga on YouTube. Downward dog defying the duffel life. Vogel says light sentence. Community service ironic.
Huh.
Ironic. Dad chuckled from the office. First laugh in weeks. Service suits you.
Girl.
Start here. Inventory the bays. Routine deepened. Her sorting. Me welding. Dad's stories a bomb. Tales of Motown strikes. Mom's pre-affair spark. One evening. Post-closing.
We three at the workbench.
Pizza boxes open. He cracked a Laney's. To floods receding. Receding. But the tide turned treacherous. Mom surfaced. Email to Dad's inbox. CC'd all. Tom. Kids can't run forever. In Chicago. With Eli's sister. Sorting me.
Love. Despite.
Despite. The hook. Dad read it silent. Ken crushing in fist. Despite, he echoed. Voice thunder. After the lies?
Lies.
Emily reached. But he shrugged. You too?
Immunancia.
Covered her canoodling. Then the cash grab. Family or farce?
Farce.
The word felled us. He stormed out, truck roaring into night, leaving us in fluorescent freeze. Emily crumbled first, sobs racking, bump heaving. Our fault.
All.
I held her again, but the cage echoed louder. Metal memory. Not all. Fix starts with facing. Next day, she called Vogel. Full confession. No plea games. Vogel balked, suicidal.
Ain't.
But she held. Feds pounced. Interview scheduled. Her ledgers laid bare. The night before. Snow blanketing the shop like absolution. She cornered me in the loft. Jack. The $200,000. Wired back, full. From savings, salon scraps.
Full.
The check pinged my account. Digital absolution.
Why?
Because you deserved everything. Echo of the dinner. Twisted. We hugged. Grace kicking between. A morse of maybe. But dawn brought the twist. Rico called. Voice grave. Ghost Nines ghosted dead. OD in Kiev. Last job? Your files. But twisted, added your name.
Jack.
To the ledgers. Feds think you're Cocon. The flood. Not receding, rising. Chad's final flip. Payback via proxy. I hung up. World tilting. Emily downstairs, humming to Grace. Dad's truck idling outside, waiting for the hearing. Reckoning.
Who's now?
Twists in Detroit aren't plot devices, they're potholes, sudden, shattering, leaving you limping on rims. The Ghost 9 bomb landed like one, cratering my morning coffee into bitter sludge.
Kokon.
My name forged on the ledgers. Timestamps backdated to pre-prison gigs. Wires I'd never touched, now mine. Chad's masterpiece. Laundered through the hacker's grave. A digital frame job worthy of the Fed's wet dreams.
I didn't tell them, not yet.
Emily was downstairs, humming "You Are My Sunshine" to her bump, oblivious armor of prenatal peace. Dad's truck idled in the lot, exhaust blooming like cigar smoke, waiting to convoy to the Fed building. Routine held, fragile as fresh snow. But inside, the cage reformed, not metal, but marrow deep. The drive was silent convoy, my Impala tailing Dad's F-150. Emily sandwiched, her hand occasionally waving from the passenger window like a white flag. Downtown loomed. Federal Plaza, a fortress of glass and granite, flags snapping in the wind off the river. Security theater, magnetometers beeping, badges flashing swallowed us, spitting us into a conference room sterile as a scalpel, formica table, one-way mirror, coffee maker wheezing decaf defeat. Vogel arrived flustered. Ty Askew. Briefcase bursting with motions.
Ink.
This full confession? It's a gift to the DA, felonies stacking like Jenga. Recant. Plea low. She shook her head, resolute in rumpled maternity chic.
No. Truth time.
For Grace.
Grace.
The name's sanctified, but my phone buzzed silent, burner. Lena, Feds called. Your name on manifests. Run.
Run.
The American reflex. I texted back. Hold. Proof incoming.
Proof.
I slipped to the restroom. Stall door bolted. Laptop cracked on the tank. Burner cloud accessed. Files sifting for Chad's fingerprints. There, metadata spikes. IP traces to his condo VPN. Timestamps post-leak. Ghost 9's folly. But Chad's script. I zipped it. Emailed anonymous to the AUSA. CC'd Rico for backup. Back in the room. The interview commenced. 2 suits. Stone-faced. Agent Reyes. Latina fire with a stare like salsa burn. Agent Kowalski. No relation to Lena. Polish ice with a pen poised like a pike. Emily spilled. The siphons. The shells. The salon as slush fund. My husband knew, pushed. Even.
But it started with me.
Desperation. Desperation. Reyes leaned in. And your brother? Jack Harlan. Logs show cosigns. Wires from his accounts. Emily blinked. Blindsided. Jack. No, he took the fall before. Covered for me. But clean since. Kowalski slid prints across. My forged SIG. $80,000 phantom transfer. Dad's face drained. Mine a mask. Fabrication, I said. Voice steady. Check the meta, VPN from Birmingham. Chad's. Reyes's eyes narrowed. Appraising. Convenient. But your history, Mr. Harlan. Fraud plea 23. Motive to muddy. Motive. The word was mud. Emily flipped, shocked to shield. Jack's innocent. He rebuilt the $200,000. For us. Chad's the snake.
Snake.
Chaos crested. Vogel objecting. Dad thumping table. Agents caucusing behind the mirror. Break, called. Us herded to holding soft cells, no cuffs, but cuffs of doubt. In the whisper room, Emily cornered me. Kokon?
Jack.
Tell me it's bullshit. Bullshit. I lied. Throat ash. Chad's parting shot. Her hug crushed. Grace kicking a chord. We beat this. Together. Together. Dad pulled me aside. Eyes storm cloud. If you're dirty too. Not. I swore. Hand on heart, rosary bulge a talisman. Trust the fix.
Trust.
The fragile fulcrum. Hours dragged. Then Reyes returned. Meta checks. Mr. Harlan clear. Prosecution's pivoting to the husband. Ms. Harlan. Plea stands. 18 months. House arrest post-birth. 18 months. Emily sagged. Relief laced through. Grace first.
Grace.
The tide. Turning tentative. We emerged to flashbulb's frenzy. No comments. Convoying home through snow-swept streets. Dad cracked Laney's at the shop. 3 generations toasting, truth's thaw. But thaw's temporary in Michigan. That night, burner pinged Rico. Chad's ghosted. Condo empty. Tesla torched an alley. Feds hunting. Hunting. The snake slithered free? Or cornered? Coiling? I welded late. Sparks a shield. The cage's ghost whispering ready. Emily labored 2 weeks on, house arrest ankle bracelet chafing. But Grace cooked, kicking symphonies. Mom resurfaced tentative, calls to Dad. Visitation for the birth. He allowed. Voice gruff. For the grandkid.
Not you. Not you.
The line drawn. I mediated. Fixer eternal. But the twist tightened. Anonymous package at the shop. No postmark inside. A flash drive. Labeled the real flip. Plugged in the office. Post-closing. Screen blooming venom videos. Emily. Not pregnant, flat belly. Timestamped last spring. Negotiating with Ghost 9 via Zoom. Make it stick on Jack, she hisses. Full frame, his cigs. His wires. Chad's out. I need cover.
Cover.
Her voice. My knife. The pregnancy? Pretext. Bought time ultrasound faked. Bump padded with prosthetics from her theater days in college drama. The flood. Not flood, tsunami. She'd flipped ultimate. Victim to Viper. Using Grace as ghost. I confronted at midnight. Loft ladder creaking under fury. She was knitting booties. Needles clicking lies.
Eminencia. Jack.
Innocent arch. The drive thrust. Explain. Her face fell. Then flipped, resignation raw.
Had to.
Chad sniffed the leaks. Threatened exposure. Baby? Bluff, miscarried last year. After his punch. Couldn't face it alone.
Punch.
Miscarry. The horror hollowed me. You framed me. Again. Tears.
Torrent.
Survival.
Jack.
For the shop. Dad. You were. Expendable. Expendable. The word eviscerated. Dad's truck rumbled outside. Insomnia patrol. Mom's call waiting. The cage. Real now. In my mind's forge. What now? She whispered.
Now.
The twist's tail. Mercy or maim. I pocketed the drive. Descended silent. Outside. Snow muffled the world. And I drove to the river. Drive sailing into black water. Bubbles rising like confessions.
Sunk.
Evidence drowned. Back home, I held her as she labored. Fake throes. Real grief spilling. The miscarriage. Chad's abuse. The fraud as frantic grasp. Grace was ghost. But forgiveness? Forged anew. We start real, I said. No flips. No flips. Dawn broke. Family fractured but fusing. Dad's knowing nod. Mom's distant echo. But deep. The river whispered. Twists turned back. And the cage? It rusted. Waiting. Forgiveness in America isn't absolution. It's alloy, base metals beaten into something stronger. If brittle. The drive's plunge into the Detroit bought us breath. Emily's grace, a scaffold for the lie we rebuilt. No baby, but a bond. Sister-brother reforged in the fire we'd stoked. She pled out clean misdemeanors. Restitution routed through the shop's legit relaunch. Her salon shuttered to fund Apex full. Chad vanished. Whispers of Toronto exile. His Tesla torch a message unread. Spring thawed the rust. Cherry blossoms mocking the scars. Mom returned tentative, Chicago cleansed. Eli's ghost exorcised. Her wrists fall, confessed over Easter ham. Dad forgave fractured. A handshake heavy as hammers. Build. Lorraine. No more bridges burned. Build. The mantra. I welded full-time now. The depot humming, hybrid parts flowing. Lena's outfit partnered. Her Kowalski grit greasing the gears. For Joe, she'd toast to barbecues. Eyes on the river. Emily? She apprenticed. Sorting circuits with steady hands. No flips, just flips of burgers at our block parties. Laughing at Dad's jokes. The family facade refired authentic. But facades crack. And mine did Memorial Day weekend. The city pulsing with parade drums and parade floats of pretense. We gathered at the shop, cookout sprawl, brats sizzling, Leinenkugels sweating in coolers. Neighbors milled. The old neighborhood knitting back, Father O'Malley blessing the grills. Rico spinning yarns to wide-eyed kids. Even Vogel nursing a soda. Billing hours off clock. Emily manned the cooler, doling drinks with a wink. Her figure filling out from grace grief. Not gestation. Jacko, she called, tossing a can. Catch for the hero.
Hero.
The tag chafed, but I caught it. Foam hissing. Dad clapped my back. Mom's hand lingering, reconciliation's residue. Proud.
Son.
The welder, who mended. Mended. The word warmed, but the river's whisper chilled, sunk drive's surface. And it did. Post-parade. Phone buzzing anonymous. Video link. Time-stamped pre-plunge. Emily's Zoom with Ghost 9. Crystal clear. My frame job scripted. Sender, Chad. From exile. Spite's last stand. Payback's a bitch, the note read. Feds get copy unless $50,000 wires. Blackmail. The twist's tail. Lashing back. I stared at the screen. Cookout roar fading to tinnitus. Emily's laugh a lie anew. I didn't confront, not there.
Not then.
Slipped to the riverfront after dark. The ambassador's lights a constellation of compromise. Wired half, $25K. My remnant savings, buying time. Not trust. Then called Rico. Ghost back. Need a counterflip. His chuckle was chain gang gravel. Always.
Jackie.
Toronto's got reach. Send cords.
Chords.
Chad's VPN trace. Easy now. By midnight, a leak to Toronto PD, fraud fugitive. Domestic battery warrant pending. No wire needed. Extradition's the hook. Dawn brought news. Chad collared at Pearson. Fighting cuffs like a cornered coon. His phone seized. Videos lost in evidence lockup. Rico's contacts. Deep as Detroit's underbelly. Emily never knew, or feigned. Her eyes clear at breakfast. Grace would love fireworks. Feigned or reformed, the line blurred. But I chose blur. The alloys gleam. Summer forged on. Shop thrived. Dad's grin permanent. Mom's garden blooming defiant. Emily dated cautious, a mechanic from Lena's crew. Tattoos matching her scars. No rings. No rushes, just dates. Dinners. The slow weld of maybe. Fall crisp leaves blood red. Anniversary of the dinner looming. We gathered again, same table. Turkey carved by me. No knives and backs. Toasts rang. To floods past. To forges hot. But as plates cleared, Emily pulled me aside. Loft shadows long. Jack. The video. Chad sent you too.
Two.
The word pierced. Yeah. Handled. Her nod was nod to Nadir. I was broken then, Chad's fists. The loss. Framed you to survive. But Grace? She's real now in here. A hand to heart. Eyes earnest. Forgive or finish. Finish. The cage's call. Final. I saw it. Her in steel. Secrets sealed. Family free. Or free her. Forge forward. The river whispered, but blood, thicker, warmer, drowned it. Forgiven. But flip again. Won't. Oath. I lock. We hugged. The shop's hum a hymn below. Dad's voice drifted up. Kids. Pie.
Pie.
American as apple. Sweet as second chances. I descended. Emily trailing. The alloy holding for now. Winter wheeled in. Snow a shroud on sins. The shop shuttered early Christmas Eve. Lights strung like stars. Family crammed the office. Tree twinkling. Mom's cookies crisp. Dad's tails tall. Emily gifted me a welder's mask. Engraved, fixer eternal. Eternal. I gifted back a locket. Empty, for Grace. When real. Her tears, real. The twist? Debated in silence, mercy madness. Or justice jaded. Readers, you pick sides. Was I savior? Or succor? Villain? Vindicated? The fire crackled. Blood sang. And in the forge's glow, we were whole, cracked, controversial, but unbowed. Revenge? Not served cold, but tempered hot, into something like home. But deep, where doubts dwell, the cage rests no more, polished, patient, a promise. If flips return, so does the reckoning. And in America, reckonings never end, they evolve.